Hello everyone, in this video we'll talk about how to use the Ezcad software. Before using the software, we need to install driver and do some basic settings. We have made some videos for this. If you need them, you can check the video links in the description. First, I will give you an example. For example, if we want to write the text, we can click the text tool, then click the workspace. We can drag the text corners to adjust its size. We can change its font here. We can edit the text content here. You need to click the Apply button to make these changes take effect. We can also center it in the workspace. Here we can set mark parameters like speed and power. Then we can mark. Before marking, we need to make sure that the laser is focused. We can adjust the focus by an external red light, or we can adjust it manually. We covered it in the previous video. Let's preview the marking first. Click red or press F1. Then click mark or press F2. Okay, then this is the complete marking process. Now let's take a look at the interface of the software. The menu bar is at the top. Below that is the quick toolbar. On the left is the object list. Below that are some object properties. This is the drawing toolbar. This is the selection toolbar. The square area in the middle is the workspace. On the right are some mark parameters. At the bottom is the laser control bar. At the very bottom is the status bar. First, let's walk through the drawing toolbar. We can not only write the text, but also draw a shape. For example, if we want to draw a rectangle, we can click the rectangle tool. Then click and drag to draw a rectangle. Or if we want to import a photo, we can click the photo tool, then select the photo. And if we want to import a vector file, we can click the vector file tool, then select the vector file. All the graphics we imported or drew will be displayed in the object list. When we engrave them, the engraving order is from top to bottom. That is to say, first engrave the text, next the rectangle, then the photo, finally the vector file. We can change the order. For example, we can select the rectangle and right-click it. Move to previous position. Move to next. Move to top. Move to the bottom. Below is the object properties. We can not only change the position and the size of the text with the mouse, but also modify the specific dimension information here. Here is what we need to note. If we don't want to change the aspect ratio of the text, we need to make sure the lock icon is locked. This way, if one dimension changes, the other dimension will adjust accordingly to keep the ratio the same. Of course, we can change the font or edit the content. Each time after making these changes, we need to click the Apply button for the modifications to take effect. On the right side are some marking parameters. The main parameters we need to set are speed and power. When the speed is set higher, the marking speed becomes faster and the engraving depth becomes shallower. When the speed is set lower, the engraving depth gets deeper. As for power, the higher the power, the deeper the engraving depth. The lower the power, the shallower the depth. There are many colors. Each color is a set of marking parameters. For example, the colors of the text, rectangle, and the vector file are black. So when we engrave them, the engraving speed is 800 and the power is 50. Well, sometimes maybe we want to use a different setting for the text. If we modify the parameters here, for example, we increase the power to 60%, then the power is increased for all the objects in the workspace, but we only want to change the power of the text. In this case, we can select the text, then click one color. You can see the text turned blue. We set the speed to 1000, set the power to 20%. When we engrave the text, the machine will use parameter set with the speed of 1000 and the power of 20. When engraving the other objects, it will use the original parameters. So when they have different colors, they will be engraved with different parameters. If we frequently use the set of parameters, we can set it as the default parameters. For example, for this set of parameters, we click the Apply to Default. Then we've set it as the default parameters. When you want to use the default parameter, you can check the box for Use Default Parameter. It will switch back to the default parameter. We can also save other parameters like the one we just talked about, 1020. Click the Select Parameter from Library and save current parameter as, name it as product1. Okay, we have saved the parameters. When we want to use it, we can click Select the parameters from library, then choose product1, then OK. Then the parameters are modified. Here we can find the name of the parameters. Another function we often use is hatch. You can see the graphics are hollow. We can hatch it solid. Click Hatch. The main parameter we need to modify is the line space. For example, we change it to 0.1. Then OK. Now the text has become solid. Below is the laser control bar. Both the red light preview and the engraving function we mentioned are included in this laser control bar. By default, when we click Mark, the machine will engrave all the objects in the workspace. But sometimes maybe we only want to engrave the text. In this case, we can check the box for Mark selected, then select the text and Mark. Then the machine will engrave the text only. Sometimes we need laser continuous processing, such as when doing deep engraving. We can check the continuous part option. Then when we click Mark, the laser will work continuously. Okay, these are the main functions in the software. Next, we introduce the other functions. First is the menu bar. First is File. It includes New, Open, Save, Save As, Import Vector File, Import Bitmap File, System Parameter Settings. We also can import a vector file and a bitmap file in the drawing toolbar. Then is Edit. It includes Undo, Redo, Cut, Copy, Paste, Combine, Uncombine, Group, Ungroup, Hatch. In Draw, we can draw a point, curve, line, rectangle, circle, ellipse, and so on. We can also draw them in the drawing toolbar. In Modify, it includes array, array text, transform, plastic, distribution, resort, and so on. We will explain them in the following videos. In the view, we can add or hide some elements in the workspace. For example, if we want to add some grids to the work area, we can check the grid. Then the grids will be added to the work area. If we uncheck the grids will be removed. In the laser, we mainly use the rotary axis function. We will explain it in the future. The help includes some basic information of the software like software version. The quick toolbar contains some commonly used tools, such as the tools we saw in the menu list, like new, open, save, cut, copy, paste, undo, redo, combine, uncombine, group, ungroup. About the group tool, for example, if we want to group the rectangle and the text, select the two objects, then click group. Then they will become one single object. If we want to ungroup them, you can click ungroup. Then they will turn back into two separate objects. This is the hatch tool. We have mentioned it earlier. This is the system parameter settings. In the system parameter settings, we can change the unit type. The default unit of measurement is millimeters. If someone wants to use inches, we can switch it to inches. In the workspace, you can modify the position and the size of the workspace. Usually, the manufacturer will set these parameters for you, but if you are going to change your new lens, you'll need to modify these parameters. I have also made a video for this. In the move rotate, we can adjust the notch distance. The meaning is, for example, now the notch distance is 1 millimeter. When we move the rectangle with arrow keys, each time we click the direction key, the rectangle will move by 1 millimeter. If we want to increase the distance, for example, if we set it to 5 millimeters, it will move 5 millimeters each time the distance is increased. We can also modify the language of the software. Now it's English. We can change it to Japanese or Korean. Each time we change the language, we need to restart the software for the change to take effect. Here is the view toolbar. First is the zoom window. Click this tool, then draw a selection box. Then you can zoom in to view the selected area. Then is the zoom pan. Click the tool, then we can drag the workspace around. Next are the zoom in and the zoom out tools. We can also use the scroll wheel to control zooming in and out. Then is zoom out. Click this tool. Then we can zoom in to view all the objects we created. After that is the zoom peak. For example, we select the object. Then click this tool. Then we can zoom in to view this object. The last tool is View Workspace. We can click this tool to view the entire workspace. Sometimes we lose the workspace. It's very difficult to find the workspace by dragging the scroll bar. We can click this tool to locate the workspace immediately. In the selection toolbar, the function we often use is put to origin. For example, we can select the text, then put it to origin. When we put it to origin, we can get a better marking result. The laser beam energy will be more even. And the mirror X button, when we click this button, the text will flip left and right. When we click the mirror Y button, the text will flip up and down. There is the function we often use in the laser control bar. In F3, Other, Red light pointer, there is the red light mode, show contour. By default, the red light preview is a red box. After we check this mode, we can see the result. Click red, so it will show the contour of the marking, so we can know what the marking will look like. Okay, these are some basic operations of the software. Leave a comment if you have any question. Thank you for watching and see you next time.